So here we go, folks. I'm going to switch this over to a different presentation window there, and we are going to get started. All right. So as I said before, this week it's recording video with Snagit. And of course my name, as usual, at least most of the time I see it, it's William Everhart. Occasionally I have to check my driver's license to make sure it's me. But yep, that's me. So this week, as I said, we're going to be working with Snagit, and let's get to it. I have just a couple of slides here. I'm going to kind of bounce back and forth between the slides and the actual demo. So let's just jump right into it. All right, so what are we going to cover today? What we're going to try to. We're going to look at recording full screen. So recording the entire screen, obviously. Selecting a recording area, so maybe you only want to record a particular part of your screen. Maintaining aspect ratio. We're going to talk about what aspect ratio is and how do we maintain that when we're creating these recording areas, whether that be a full screen recording or selecting a particular area of your screen. We'll also talk about recording audio with your video. Two different types of audio. We want to talk about those and show you how to toggle those features on and off. We'll also show you how to toggle the cursor itself, how to show and or hide the cursor, and then anything else that we can run into. So like I said, there was a new release this week, so that would probably fall into that extra category there, some of the new features. All right. So full screen recording. You may want to, I know for me, it's always about some sort of piece of software, and that's where Snagit really lives. Is we're capturing something off of our computer screen. So there's all kinds of goodness there, but you might want to actually record a process, maybe logging into a particular server or something like that, or some process. Maybe you have an online form, you want to show people how to fill that out. Whatever it might be, you might want to record a movie for that, and Snagit can do this. And a lot of times what you're going to want to do is record your entire screen. Now obviously there's some things you have to watch out for, so I've listed those here. When you're choosing your monitor size, and I'm not talking about when you're going to purchase a monitor, but when you're choosing that monitor size or that resolution, you want to be mindful of the monitor itself. Now, I have dual monitors here, and I'm going to see if I can bring this up. I have a little app here because this particular computer also has a really high-end graphics card on it. Let's see here. If I can find the driver quick. All right, let's see if we can just do it. If I escape this. I can get to my desktop here. So a lot of you are going to have something where you can right mouse click on your desktop and you can choose screen resolution. And that's great. You can choose that. But I have an NVIDIA graphics card on this, a really high-end video editing card. It's awesome. And so I'm going to use the control panel for it. And it comes with a lot of other options. Okay? And so right now I have dual monitors. The one you are currently doing is this one, Samsung. And the thing that you're going to notice is that it has like a resolution here and it says native. Okay? So that is this monitor's native maximum resolution. And that's where it probably should be set. But in order to make it easier for you guys to see what's happening on my screen, you can see that I have actually reduced that by a little bit. Mine is actually at 1280 by 768. I'm not actually going to make changes here because I don't know how bad that's going to freak out the online classroom. So I'm not actually going to make any changes here. But you can see I can go higher and lower. But these are the available settings for this particular monitor. These are perhaps supported resolutions here. And this is the kind of thing that you have to be mindful of, because this might fit your particular output. Okay? So when you're looking to record full screen, one of the first options that you're going to choose is this. You're going to change the resolution of that monitor. Now, what if you don't have a graphics card like this? Okay, well, that's not a problem. You can also, if you're on a Windows device, you can right mouse click on your desktop and choose screen resolution. And you're going to get something very similar. In this case, it's much more simplified. But once again, number 2 monitor is the one that you guys are currently viewing. And so if I select that one, these are the options for it. And here are the resolution options. Now, you can use the little slider here and change the resolutions however you see fit. The ones that are in black here are native resolutions for this particular monitor. And so your monitor may be different. Now, the monitor that you guys are viewing right now is a widescreen monitor, and so the native resolution there, the recommended one, is the 1440 by 900. That's a widescreen. But it can be forced over into some of these other resolutions. In fact, you can just drag this up and down, and it'll show you in gray there what the resolution is. And I could choose these and just kind of change the aspect ratio and stuff like that. So you just want to be mindful of that, what you're going to get there, because sometimes you're not going to get exactly the resolution that you're looking for. The reason I mention that is because of this particular resolution, 1280 by 768. A common delivery method for video, very common nowadays, is either YouTube or Vimeo. And both of those support widescreen or 16 by 9 aspect ratio. And the default resolution for that is 1280 by 720. So you can see here that, well, I've got 1280, but it's 768, so it's not exactly right. I wouldn't want to record this full screen monitor here because it's going to have to do something with those extra, 48 pixels there. It's not 720, it's 768. So you want to be mindful of that sort of thing. Okay? All right. Well, I'm going to cancel this for just a moment. All right. So when you are starting this recording, I'm going to just go ahead and maximize this again. You want to be mindful of the limitations of your monitor. Now, something else you have to be mindful of is high res versus low res. Okay? If I were to record at what this monitor could support, which is the 1440 by 900, yeah, that's a 16 by 9 aspect ratio or a widescreen aspect ratio, but it's a little oversized. And so what's going to happen is when you do this recording and you have this little video, and then you place that either on your own server or wherever you're going to be delivering it, those icons, all my little graphics icons here are going to show up really, really small because you don't know how the end user is viewing it. Are they viewing it on a computer? Are they viewing it on a tablet or smartphone? Now, obviously, the smaller the screen, smaller those little icons are going to get. So you got to be really careful when you're shooting those high-res stuff because you're going to end up with these really small icons. Now, on the flip side of that coin, if you go low-res, if you go, well, I'll just reduce the resolution of my monitor and that'll make up for it. Well, you got to be careful of that too because you can end up cropping out some of your content. Now, let's see what this actually looks like. I actually did a little recording earlier with this. And let's see here. I'm going to pop open my editor here. So the first video I'm going to show you here. Let's see. This is the higher resolution setting. Okay. And you can see in here that the icons are really, really small. Now, obviously, this isn't set to be played back at full screen here, but we can. Let's see here, because they've changed the interface now. I don't know if I can actually do it in here or not, but I can locate this. Let's see here. Get some properties here on it, and let's see here, let's find it. All right, so I'm just going to find it here. It records as an MP4 file. And if I double tap it, you can see it's going to open up in my media player and start playing. So this is, native resolution here, and you can see the size of those little icons, of those little menus there. Relatively small. All right, well, let's take a look at something that I recorded at a lower resolution. I said, well, I want to compensate for this because think about this. What if this is on, say, a tablet device? Now look how small those icons get. That's pretty tiny. Okay. So then I also have one that I recorded at a lower resolution. Now I reduced the size or the resolution of my monitor first, then did the recording. And so when you reduce the resolution of your monitor, then things get a little larger, makes it easier to see, and this is the result. So if I take this one, and let's see, yeah, it hasn't been saved yet, so we play it here. You can just see, you know, the size of these icons is considerably larger. But watch this little thing come in. See how large this little frame that popped in here? I had to actually drag it in because it popped over on the other monitor, but it's really, really large. Some of the interface of, in this case, Acrobat is being trimmed out of here. So you can end up bumping into the walls real quick if you got this low resolution. You want to be careful of that sort of thing. So my recommendation to you is to, when you're going to do this sort of thing, you're going to record a live screen or full screen, go ahead and look at what your output is going to be. What is going to be the, you know, quote unquote native resolution there? YouTube HD is going to be 1280 by 720, but maybe that's not your output method or your delivery method. So find out what that is. Are you going to embed this video in an e-learning module? If so, what is the size of that little module? What size are you going to deliver at? And then adjust your monitor to match as close as possible. And then that's going to give you the best maybe balance between the two. And you're going to get you know, a video that fits and it's not distorted, you don't have any cropping and that sort of stuff going on. All right, so full screen recording. Now what about just selecting an area for recording? Well, new in the Snagit 12 release, it is really easy to just record either full screen or just an area. But you can just click and drag. So let's say, let's just do for example here, I wanted to pull my little Acrobat window over here and I'll just kind of resize it a little bit like so. All right, so let's say I have all of this going on. Resize it just a little more here. And let's say that I want to record this little presentation here that I'm delivering to you now, but I don't want to record all, you know, all of the Acrobat interface. I just want my little video area here. All right, well, I can come up here to the top and you're getting ready to see the new Snagit 12 widget here. There's a little widget right up here at the top. There's a little blue line. I just hover over that, a little widget pops down. And this is the one-click widget. They have changed this quite a bit from the previous version. And here's the really cool thing. If you've ever worked with Snagit before, you could just click on this little button and it's going to use whatever preset you had last. Well, that still kind of works here. You do have presets and that sort of stuff. There are some capture profiles in here. But the really cool thing about this is that it is truly a one-click, because I can come to this red button here and just click once. And then I can choose what I want to record. Now, just using the little X here, I can, or crosshair here, I can just mouse over different areas, and you can see it's highlighting different areas of my little Acrobat window there. If I go outside of that to the desktop, it's going to record full screen. But I only want to record this area, so that I can actually mouse inside of it, or if I really want to get particular about it, I can click, hold, and drag. And I can drag exactly the area that I want to record. When I release, I'm ready to start recording, and this is the new feature of, one of the new features of Snagit 12, is that now I get to decide right here, do I want to take a picture or do I want to video. Obviously, I'm going to record video because that's what this title is all about. But dragging your selection, very, very easy. The one thing you have to be careful though, there's actually a couple of things. And that's the recording size once again. So mind your resolution at that point, but then also the aspect ratio. Now, I touched on this a little bit in the previous little idea there is aspect ratio, 16:9, 4:3. So standard monitor size and then like a widescreen. Once again, this just goes right back to what your delivery method is. What is your output from this? Do your users are they viewing this more on a computer, a standard like an old school laptop or standard CRT monitor, something like that? Or are they more inclined to be viewing this on a mobile device? So aspect ratio has a lot to play with that. Mobile devices, for the most part, are widescreen or 16:9. Not all of them. But the trend is going more that way, obviously, and has been for some time. So this is where you can see the actual recording size. Well, it says 782 by 440, but that may not be exactly what you want. That's okay. It's going to be close enough for my demonstration purposes here. I just clicked the little capture video here. It's going to ask me about audio, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. I'm just going to click record. I'm going to get a countdown, and now I'm recording. But it's only recording this little area here in the yellow. So if I mouse in here, you're going to see my mouse here in a moment, and I'm going to click, and it should like advance the slide or something like that. And it's not previewing correctly here. But anyway, that gives us, let's say, like 20 seconds of video here. The mouse is wiggling around. Okay, I'm stopping the video. It's going to finalize. It's going to hand it off here. So you can see the recording is just that area that I selected. Unfortunately, it may not be the right aspect ratio. It looks widescreen, but it may not fit that particular output of 720 by 1280, which I know it doesn't. But it might scale up, and in this case, that's what it would do. If someone had a large enough monitor there or whatever, and they popped it out full screen, it would scale this up. And the only downside to scaling it up is that just like a photograph, when you scale it up, you start to see the pixels. Okay? All right. So let's talk a little bit more about aspect ratio. I'm going to quit out of this again, pop it over here because it's going to get right back to your aspect ratio. Watching out for the actual recording size and the aspect ratio. So how do you maintain the aspect ratio, whether you're trying to record full screen or you're selecting the area? Now, if you're recording full screen, the aspect ratio is going to be determined by your resolution settings on your monitor. Okay, so you're just kind of stuck with what you have there. Now, in this case, I told you this particular monitor you're viewing was 1280 by 768, so it's not a true 16:9. I want it 1280 by 720. So I'm going to show you how to create that and how to maintain your aspect ratio, whether it be a 16:9 widescreen or the normal format of 4:3. All right, so once again, I am going to escape out of this, and let's say I want to record 16:9. Okay, but I want to select the area because I know this monitor is not 16:9. So once again, I'm going to come up here to the one-click widget, and I am going to start the recording process. Click on the button here. Got my little crosshair here and a little magnifying glass, kind of tells me where things are. And so let's say I want to record that a particular aspect ratio, let's say 16:9. So if I'm just clicking and dragging, I can just drag any old size video I want. And this is what you really want to be careful of. But if I hold the shift key as I drag, it creates this kind of a perfect square because I've already started dragging. Now if I hold the control key while I drag, because I've already started dragging, well, it's going to actually create this 16:9, this widescreen aspect ratio. And so you got this kind of thing going on. And if I release the mouse button here, it's ready to start recording, but I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to try this again. So come back up here. I'm going to start my new capture. This time, I'm going to hold down the Shift key, then start dragging. Once again, I'm going to get that kind of a square aspect ratio. If I hold down the Control key, I'm going to get that 16 by 9. And if I hold down, let's see, where are you? If I hold down both of those keys together, that's the Control and the Shift key. So these keys have changed just a little bit for the new version here. It's going to give you the 4:3 aspect ratio. So as you can see there in my little slide here, I was preparing this for the previous version, Snagit 11. So if you're using Snagit 11, Shift Drag should give you the 16 by 9. Control Drag will give you the 4:3. But if you're using the newest one, Control Drag will give you 16 by 9. Control Shift Drag will give you a 4:3 aspect ratio. Now, once you drag out an area like this, you can pick it up and move it. So once again, selecting a recording area, I can mouse inside of this recording area and pick it up and move it around. So, oops, I missed it by a little bit. I can certainly do that. You can also resize it. If you grab one of these little corner handles, you can resize it. Just be mindful that it will resize with no respect to your aspect ratio. So once again, I'm just resizing this little window here. This is my little recording area. If I hold the Shift key, it's going to snap it to a square aspect ratio. Okay. And likewise, if I hold that Control key, it's going to snap it to that 16 by 9. If I hold both Control and Shift, I get my 4:3. So this presentation was actually set as it's 16 by 9. So I can kind of manipulate this a little bit until I get exactly what I want. And now, even though those pixel measurements, the 780 by 439, don't exactly match, I do know that that is a true 16 by 9 aspect ratio because I was holding the Control key as I was pulling that down. Okay. All right, I'm going to cancel that. So aspect ratio. Just be mindful of that, mindful of what your output is. And you may have to either adjust the size of your window to have it conform. Like if I want to record just this little window, you might want to adjust it so that it conforms to one of those aspect ratios. Okay. All right. Oops. Now, recording audio. If you were with me a few weeks ago, we were talking about recording, professional recording with Camtasia, and more to the point, Camtasia Studio. And in there, I talked a lot about audio. Talked about some of the equipment and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to reiterate some of that. I'm not going to go through the slides, but I will reiterate the use of quality microphone. I can't overstate that enough. The mic that I'm using right now is a studio mic, and it's a Samson G-Track. I like this thing. It's a USB mic, so it's plug and play. It's a really good quality mic. It has some kind of interesting features here, so I can actually listen to the mic with a headset. There's a little headset plug in here. If I had an audio device that I wanted to plug in, say a guitar or a keyboard or even a CD or MP3 player or something like that, there's an input on this mic for that as well. So I can record not only my voice, but the audio track coming in, which is kind of interesting. Anyway, it's a great piece of equipment. I do have one concern about it, and that is with Windows 7, this particular mic, if you use the default USB drivers, because it doesn't ship with any, the mic itself doesn't come with any drivers. Some of the original Windows 7 drivers for this particular, just like a generic USB mic, they have a kind of a buzzing sound in the background. It's really bad. So you just got to be careful of that. Make sure you're using the latest drivers for your microphones. I do recommend studio mics over a headset, especially if you're going to do a lot of long recordings. However, headsets are kind of nice. The only thing with them is if you're going to be in the booth a really long time doing the recording, that thing's going to wear on you because they're kind of heavy. And Cynthia, I'm just going to take this question real quick because she's asking about the name of the mic. It's a Samson, Samson G, G as in girl, track. In fact, what I can do, I can actually pop up. Let's see here. Let's just pull a new window over here, a little Amazon. And if you just go someplace like Amazon or something like this, a USB microphone. Okay. There's tons of choices out here. Personally, like I said, I try to choose one of these studio mics, and I try to choose something from a well-known provider. Samson is a great one. Blue Microphone really makes some awesome ones as well. They've been around for a few years now. They have this little series called Snowball. This little guy actually comes in color, so if you don't like the white, there's a pink, a blue, green, there's various colors there if you want that sort of thing. They also have this one they call the Yeti. And the really cool thing about all of these mics is the fact that they are USB. They're pretty much just plug and play, whether they be Windows or Macintosh. The things I do try to avoid are some of these smaller microphones, even this little Samsung Go mic. I'm sure it's great, but the smaller that mic, more kind of like in a tube you sound like you're when you're recording. Audio Technica also makes some great products. But you know, some of these little standard mics, like this little guy here, this Kanobo, not that I even know that brand, but just this type of mic is just not a very good microphone to use if you're going to do any professional recording at all. You want better quality sound, you need better quality products. So, you know, somewhere around the $100 range is what you can expect to pay for a good quality USB microphone. They're really, really great. If you already have some audio equipment, you can buy just a standard USB mic. I'm sorry, a studio mic. Let's see here, and it's going to be XLR. And it's going to be a slightly different configuration. It's going to use one of these funny cables like this, an XLR cable. And so there's tons of those microphones. Once again, Samsung makes them, Audio Technica. There's several other companies that make these things. So you may happen to have one of these in place, and they use these standard big, huge plugs, these XLR plugs. Well, there is a USB, an XLR to USB converter that you can purchase. Once again, Blue Microphone makes one of those. Let's see here, XLR, oops, USB. So Blue Microphone, they have this one called Icicle. We actually have used these. They are awesome. I have one in the other classroom right now using it. Very simple. You plug it into the end of the mic and then plug in a USB on this little backside here to your computer. Great. Sure, Mike, you know, there's several people that make these things and you just kind of go from there. All right. But whatever you do, just use a good quality mic for your recordings. No two ways about that. All right. You want to test the microphone. So once you do have it connected, whatever mic you're choosing, you want to be able to test that. With Camtasia here, you could use, it has its own little inline test there, but Snagit doesn't. There's no way for me to test my recordings here. Over here in the preferences, you see there's no way for me to test my microphone before I start recording. So it's a good idea, and if I go back up here and I choose to record, just pop this window here, and I'm going to choose video. Um, there is a microphone, and there's a little drop down so I can choose which microphone I want to use, but there's no way for me to actually test or adjust the microphone here. Now you can see, well, maybe you can't see because it doesn't capture the recording. I don't know. Um, the microphone itself will actually have a little levels on it, and I can see this little green thing kind of pulsing up and down to let me know, hey, I'm ready to check your mic or whatever. But that's about it. I can't really adjust the mic. So in order to test this mic, you got a couple of options here. One, you can go to your playback devices, so your volume control here, your sound controls. And so there's your playback devices. Here's your recording devices. And you can see over here, I have this little thing popping up and down for the microphone. And this just allows me to adjust this mic. So if I select this and maybe go to configure, I can set it up. I can do some other things with it. If I choose properties, I can actually check levels on it. And so if I say, hey, this is not enough, I can either crank it up or take it down. The thing you want to watch out for is this little meter. You don't want that thing jumping up here too far to the top because it's going to start to distort. So this is just the microphone properties, and you just check the levels. Another really cool thing is this little tab here where you can listen to it. So I highly recommend you put in a headset for doing this, but you can listen to that device. That way you can actually talk into the mic and hear it. And yeah, I can read the meter over there, but it's also good to actually listen to the microphone itself with a headset. So anyway, I'm not going to turn that on here because we'd get a terrible feedback with this recording. But yeah, that's how you check out your mic before you get started. And it's just a good idea to check it out before you start recording a bunch of videos. Another way to do this is, or to test to see if it's going to work, if you haven't gone through that process, is to simply make a simple recording. Record about 10 or 15 seconds, moving the mouse around. That way you can check the video quality. And then, of course, speaking to the microphone so you can check the audio quality. And then listen to that, preview that. All right. Now, what if you don't want to record? Okay, toggling the microphone on and off here. So once again, I'm just going to go up here to the one-click widget, and I'm going to go ahead and one-click one time here, and I'll choose video. And the interface here, and I'm not sure if it's showing up on your screen or not. I'm hoping that it is, but the preview that I'm getting says that it's not. So I'm hoping this is showing up. There will be a preview for the microphone, and it will allow you to click on that to disable it. And then you get a little feedback here that microphone audio is either on or off. So if it's red, it's off. If it's green, it's on. You can also record system audio. Now your system audio is all the little beeps and boops and noises that the computer itself is going to make. So if you click a button in error or do something in error, you get a little beep or something like that. You may want to record that. That might be part of your process. So you can choose to toggle that on. Maybe you don't want to capture that stuff. Well, there's an option so you can turn that off as well. So if you just want video, no audio, that's fine. You can certainly turn both of those off and do the recording. One of the things that I like to suggest to people, no matter what screen recording device they're using, go ahead and record the audio. Have a script in front of you, and even though you're not going to be the final voice talent, go ahead and record it, because it's going to help you as the, I want to say animator, but as the person doing the demonstration, it's going to help you with your timing of the mouse movements and things like that. So that's always a good thing. Just have that script in front of you, just kind of walk through it. You're just kind of reading it out loud. This may also help you as an editor, so you can kind of see what was happening on screen and then what the script was saying at the same time. You can always remove the audio, but and replace it with something else. Now you can't do that with Snagit, but you know, you might want to include that because you're going to hand this off to someone who's using Camtasia Studio, or maybe you're going to use Camtasia Studio for it. So anyway, system audio, microphone audio, whether you want to choose to have that recording or not. All right. Now, recording the cursor. This is a preference you can turn on or off with within the preferences of Snagit. You can toggle this on and off, whether you want to actually record the cursor or not. I generally like to record the cursor because if I'm talking someone through a process, then I'm going to be demonstrating whatever that is. But maybe you don't want to. Maybe you're recording something that doesn't require the cursor. You can certainly turn that off. Now, like I said, I typically leave it on, but I'm going to give you a couple of things here to watch out for. And that's excessive mouse movement and also fast mousing. And let me show you a demonstration of what I'm talking about here. So let's see, let's get back out of this for just a moment. And let's say I was going to record this little screen here. And I was going to record some process here for doing something with this little PDF here. What I would do is I would actually keep my mouse out of the recording area. And what you should see now on your screen is my cursor is kind of way over on the right hand side, and it's going to have a little tag with my name on it, I'm sure. That's just the connect session. But the process is the same. When I'm talking about something here, my hand is actually off the mouse. I'm not touching the mouse right now. And that's a good habit to get into. What happens here is we tend to, hold on to that mouse and we're talking and the little mouse is just like bumping around a little bit, and that can be very distracting for your audience. So if you're not actually using the mouse, get your hand off of the mouse. Okay? If you don't need to see the mouse on screen, move it off the screen. Just move it to the right there or wherever, but get it off of the screen. It's just that simple. And then when you're ready to use the mouse, maybe you're going to bring it back on screen, or you're actually going to, use it to navigate a menu or something like that. Use precise movements here. I mean, you don't have to be dead on perfect, but slow it down a little bit. So watch out for that fast mousing. Don't say, oh, go up here, do this and do this and this. Yeah, you're going to lose people real quick, even if they're experienced users. So when you're going to do something like this, you're going to use the mouse to, go to a menu, especially, or even if I'm going to select a tool up here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move deliberately to the window menu. So I'm just going to move up here, and I'm going to hover over the window menu because I'm going to tell people, all right, so let's go to the window menu. And I want to give their eyes a moment to check, catch up to my mouse movement. I'm at the window menu. And so from the window menu, we're going to choose spreadsheet split. So now I'm going to hover down here, and I'm going to hover over that option for just a moment, and then click it, and then the split is going to happen here. Okay. So just the timing there, slowing that down, getting away from that fast mousing, and then once again, I've got my hand off of the mouse. Notice how my cursor is just sitting right there in the title of Snagit. Because I'm talking to you here, there's no need for me to have the mouse in my hand. Now, one of the other things that people get into is this sort of thing. All right, so we want to turn the spreadsheet split off. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to go right here, and they wiggle the mouse around. They wiggle the cursor around, thinking that that's going to help people visualize what it is. All right, so we're going to go up here to this little button right here. See, I'm right up here. And that stuff just drives people bonkers. It's more confusing. Even if you do it slow, you're just going to go right up here in this area. No, don't do that. Put your mouse over it. Usually these apps have some sort of pop-up on them. It's going to draw their attention. If you need to, there is software out there that will help you. I know I use one called Mouse Poussé. I think is how it's like expose, except with mouse in front of it, mouse pose. For the Mac, I can use a keyboard shortcut to highlight my mouse. They make similar products for the Windows. So I highly recommend a product like that. So if you want to highlight a particular area, you can do that sort of thing with a little keyboard shortcut. But just avoid this little wiggling mouse. People just don't take to that very kindly. All right. Let's see here. One of the things that you may want to do is turn off the recording of the mouse. I don't want to record the cursor. You can do that. If I go back up here to the one-click widget, right here, the profiles, if I pop this open, now in the previous version, there's going to be several different buttons that you can actually open up the little screen here. But in here, they've changed it. They've got this new thing called a Manage Profiles screen. And got it? All right. And so now I have this little list of the various profiles that I have. And, you know, there's all kinds of capture profiles in here. And that's all awesome. But then what if you needed to choose something where you don't want the cursor in it? All right. So for that, I'm going to actually create a new profile. And right down here, the capture type, is it going to be an image or is it going to be video? Well, mine's going to be video. The selection, I can set this to an all-in-one, so no matter where my cursor hovers, it'll start giving me options, or I can choose a particular, like a fixed region, so maybe I could choose something like that. And there's a little sprocket out here, so I can say, all right, I want the recording dimensions to always be, you know, whatever this is. So you could put in a value that's a 16:9 or a 4:3 aspect ratio, and it will always record that fixed region. Okay. All right, cancel that. But the point of it here is the options. Cursor, do I want that or not? Okay. So if I include the cursor, it's going to include the cursor movement. If I unhighlight it or uncheck it, it's going to not record the cursor, basically. All right. You have other options as to what is it going to do with it afterwards. It's going to hand it off to the editor, or if you do have Camtasia Studio, I don't know why you wouldn't be using that to record with. You can push it directly to Camtasia Studio. As soon as you're finished here, just pops it over in a new project and you can start editing it. Okay. All right, so that's how you toggle the cursor on and off. And in fact, I think you can actually do this in these other ones as well. If you capture an image, you could select that profile, and then I think you could either turn that on or off, and it'll update that profile temporarily until you restart this app or restart your computer. All right. Now, as a bonus here, I wanted to show you the editing of Snagit recordings with Snagit. A lot of people don't even know you could record your screen, actually record video with Snagit, and you can. That's awesome. Even fewer people knew that you can actually edit with it because you couldn't until just a few days ago. So I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to open up my editor. And let's talk about the editing of your videos. So I'm going to choose one of these longer videos here. And here's the actual editing of the video, the extent of the editing, that is. You can come over here and look at the tools and stuff like this. You can see none of this is available to me. Tagging just is putting metadata on it. Sharing is just going to share it to other applications or what have you, post it, that sort of thing. Image options are chosen or are grayed out. So there's really not a whole lot here. But if I have this video and I look down here at the bottom, I do have this new option. This is a little playhead. It just kind of plays through this. So if I'm looking at this video and I say, all right, well, you know, everything starts out pretty good. I'm going through this menu here. This thing pops up. This pops up. Okay, great. I click on that. And then I've got a lot of this extra information out here where I'm just kind of holding and holding and holding. And then, okay, so now I'm minimizing and doing some stuff here. You know, my end user really doesn't need to see all this stuff. So I need to get rid of, say, from, well, let's see, from about here, from about a minute 5 to the end. I want to get rid of the rest of that. Well, this little playhead here actually has two sides to it. The green is your in and the red is your out, if you will. So if I just select this range, all of this video in here, I can actually cut that. Okay. And what it should do is cut that out of my video. You can see now when I scrub the playhead through it, I don't actually see that last little bit. So that's about the extent of editing with Snagit. Okay. Anything beyond that, you're going to want to hand it off to Camtasia Studio. And you can do that as well. Up here at the little Share tab, there is a Camtasia Studio link, and so you could pass it off to that. Otherwise, you could save this. If I were to save this file, it's going to ask me for a name. I'll give it a name here, point it to a particular location, save it, and save it as an MP4 file. And so then I could use another video editor to open that up and edit it further, add overlays and whatever else I want to it. The one other thing that has been around for a little while with Snagit is this little snapshot down here, this little capture frame. This thing's kind of cool. It's not really what I would call an edit, but it is pretty slick because I could play my video here and I could take snapshots. So I took a snapshot of the screen there. And so now it's handed me off and it's got this still image and it's showing me where my cursor had clicked on the create button here and popped open the menu. Then I can switch back over to my video and I can keep playing that. And maybe I click another one where I have chosen create form. And so you can record a video of a process here and just walk through that process. And then you can go back and preview your video and create these little captures every so along the way. So you could deploy the video, but then maybe you want to create some print documentation to go along with the video. Maybe you want to create a little PDF or something like that. Well, you can create these little snapshots of every step of that process, and then you could actually type out the process and insert these little images inside of it, of these little screenshots. Very, very cool little technique there. I really like that because I have both my video and my PDF to go along with it, okay, with the steps. So I have my little step documentation to go right along with it. Pretty cool. All righty, folks. Well, that's the extent of the Snagit recording your screen. So I'm going to turn it back over to you and see what kind of questions you have. If you have a question, be sure to post it over here in the chat pod. I see Margaret had asked about inserts, and yeah, no, there's no inserts with the video. Really, it's just trimming the video and then creating those little snapshots. That's about it. Okay, Bob, it says, what can we do if we only have version 11? Version 11 will allow you to record the screen just like before. The only thing you won't have available to you, Bob, is this clipping or cutting. You will not have this little split where you can cut this out. Everything else will be there. So you can record your screen as is. The process is a little different. Let me see. I think I only have 12 on this one. Let me just verify. Let's see if I have the older version on here. I don't think they allow you to have both versions. Oh, wait a minute. I spoke a little too soon. I think I still have 11 on here. Yep. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to quit out of this. Discard that. And let's see here. Is it going to let me quit out of this? Bear with me just a moment. Exit Snagit. And let's pop up the old version. Snagit 11. And okay, so the little one-click widget for the Snagit 11 is a little different. You got this little half circle up here. Same kind of thing applies, but I can choose, whoops, come over here. I can choose video, and then I can click the big red button to start recording. I'm going to have the same highlighting that I had before. If I click, hold, and drag, I can, do anything I want, but if I hold the Shift key, I get a 16:9. And if I hold the control key, I get a 4:3. Now, here's one of the things I like about this is that I get these little presets here. So I'm holding down the control key as I'm dragging, and I'm seeing a little template, if you will, back here in the background. My little magnifier is getting in the way. You can see in the background there, maybe it's showing a little 4:3, 640 by 480. So I can actually just snap right down to that, and when that lights up, I know that is the size of the recording area. Once again, I can pick up the recording area, move it, do whatever I want. Here's my microphone here. I can also turn on system audio. You can choose your mic. It's pretty much everything the same. I'm going to do a little recording here. It's going to give me this little thing. And I start recording, and I'm actually recording my voice in this one so we can see different things going on. I go up here, change this, do something here. All right. So now Shift F10 to stop it. It's going to hand it off to the editor. And once again, I have my play controls. I have my little capture control here, but no clipping. I can't do anything with it. Okay. Once again, I can hand it off to Camtasia Studio. So 11 does pretty much everything that 12 did, except for that cropping or clipping of the video. You can't actually truly edit the video. All right. Let's see here. Markup. Yes, these are being recorded. You'll be able to see these up on the website there, on Lodestone's website. You'll be able to find these up there. Michelle, let's see. When I tried to record a video, I got some feedback, and it was not in sync. The video wasn't in sync. The only thing that I could think of is perhaps the machine that you're recording on. No, it was not in sync. Are you talking about audio to video maybe? The only thing I can think of is just make sure you have plenty of RAM in that machine. The more, the more RAM you have, the better, because it is having to process whatever it is you're doing on screen as well as record what you're doing, both audio and video. So just be sure that you have plenty of RAM in that computer, and that will help. Check the mics too, just to make sure. I've never had that problem with the TechSmith products. In our Pro Studio over here, though, we have had some issues, but we don't use Camtasia. We use a different product. So that was a hardware issue, though. So just check your hardware. Make sure you got the latest drivers. Make sure you got plenty of RAM in the machine. Let's see here. And it was a video on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, when you publish to YouTube, it's going to downgrade it. So you might record at the highest recording you can. It's going to downgrade it for whatever the person's playback is, whatever their connection is. And sometimes you can get into some issues with there, but I generally don't have problems with syncing, though. All right. Can you add arrows to the video to highlight an area? No, Kelly, you cannot. You cannot add any commenting to the video. Not with with Snagit. You can do all of that fun stuff with Camtasia Studio. So if you really need to do that sort of stuff, Camtasia is the way to go. What can you do if you have Snagit 10? Well, I don't know. I don't have Snagit 10. I don't know if video is available in 10 or not. That's been a while back for me, so I don't even know. I don't even recall. Can you publish to a WAV file versus MP4? You know, I think the defaults here, let's see here, hold on a second. I am in save as here. The default is going to be MP4, so I don't think so. You can use conversion tools um, to convert from one codec to another, from one file type to another. I know Adobe makes one. It's called Adobe Media Encoder, and I do believe that's a free product. It's difficult to find. They don't overtly advertise their free products, but there's that, and there's other free media encoders that you can get and actually re-encode your video, but not from Snagit, not that I'm aware of. I think it sticks with just the MP4. Okay, so Michelle said 10 did not have video recording, and that sounds about right. I do believe that was a new feature here. Um, Harold pops in that yes, it is a $25 upgrade to version 12. Is it worth the upgrade? Now, I don't know, because honestly, the things they changed, what they added to it, was just being able to clip the video. Okay, so you can see here I've got all the same features. The interface is maybe a little bit cleaner in the new version, but for that, I mean, you're going to have to check that out for yourself. But if you go, you'll have to determine that for yourself. But if you were to go to TechSmith's website, um, you could check out all the new features there. Oops, TechSmith. Right there on their landing page, they have this this whole thing about Snagit and what's new. So you can be sure and click on this link, check it out. Yeah, Mark, that's just the way it goes. At least it's just a $25 upgrade. I know the full-on product I think is only like $50, but anyway, it's you have to determine for yourself is it worth the upgrade or not. I do like the new interface, but the fact that the only thing they're really adding is the clipping of the videos. I don't know that that's really worth the $25 for me. But then again, I also have Camtasia and I have Premiere and After Effects and all that stuff too. So it really depends on what you think you will need. Okay, if you don't have those other products, maybe it is worth it. Just so you can say, well, at least I can trim the different pieces out of the video. I can cut out the pieces of my video that I don't like. All right. Any other questions? Can you record multiple speakers in different locations? No, unfortunately not. Not with this product anyway. Now, if you, let's see, if you record like a Google Hangout or something like that, now the person on the other end is going to be coming through your system volume. So yes, that would record, and then you'd have your own mic, but you cannot choose multiple mics connected to your computer. It won't do that. You can, however, buy a small mixer. It's a small piece of hardware that sits outside of it, usually USB, but you can get different ones. That way you could have, let's say you were doing like a little demo or something like that, and you wanted to record a little screen capture, but you had a guest speaker or something like that. You could do that maybe, but two mics in multiple locations or something like that, no, not out of the box. Yes, Harold, you're right. WebEx, GoToMeeting, those type of things, yes. Any of that type of thing, because that audio is going to come through your system, not your external mic here, whatever that is. All right. Any other questions? Snagit is a great tool. I think there's a lot of people using it. It's cool. They keep developing it, keep adding little features to it, like the simple editing. Who knows what else they'll come up with? I'm sure they're going to keep doing this, keep pushing this product. It is a great product. I enjoy using it myself. I use it a lot. So once again, the the video recording here with Snagit. If you need to create something just really quick, a little process video, man, it is awesome. Really quick, really easy. The only other thing I can suggest to you if you're going to do this, practice, practice, practice. Go back and watch my video from a couple weeks back on Camtasia. I talk about some of the techniques in there. That would be a great, even if you're going to use Snagit to do the recording. So I talk about the setup and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of good information in there. All right, folks. Well, thank you once again for coming and spending some time with me this afternoon, learning a little more about Snagit. Be sure and check out our website. There is the little seminar tab here. So this is where your recording is going to be found here. If you go to this little seminars tab, these are all of the ones that have been recorded. Here's one I was telling you about, the Camtasia Studio for Professional Techniques. Talk about a lot of stuff in there. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. And then these are the upcoming ones. So here very soon, this one's going to slide to the right. All right. Well, thank you again, everyone. And we'll see you next time here at Lodestone Live, our Friday afternoon seminars. Have a great weekend, everyone.